whatever happened to the simple retirement plans of the past? You know, the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, where our parents and parents' generation, grandparents' generation would work, retire, and be comfortable. They wouldn't be stressed out about retirement. They were just living the dream, the American dream. And is that gone? Is that truly gone? That simple retirement, which was affectionately known as the three-legged stool. Is that three-legged stool even a reality anymore? Can we do it? I argue we can. We just don't want to. Let me bring in my co-host, Tony Shore. Welcome, Tony, to the show. We did a show on the three-legged, what did we say, legged or legged? Three-legged stool 5 years ago.
Well, we could debate that. We could do a whole show on, is it legged or legged?
I'm not going to tell you the jokes you said to see if you repeat yourself from 5 years ago, but I do want to talk about this and bring it to today, which is 2024.
Sure.
We have it. Now, before we get into it, there might be people saying, what is a three-leg stool? What is a three-legged retirement? What does this mean? A lot of people attribute the phrase to FDR when he was pushing Social Security. But I actually researched it and found a website on Social Security's website that explained the history of it. And I will tell you, it is Reinhard A. Hohaus, who was an actuary for the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company.
Of course he was.
This guy from MetLife Actuary is the one that came up with this. And I'm going to read his quote where it was first stated.
It doesn't surprise me that an actuary came up with the analogy of a three-legged stool. Number one, I don't want to sit on a three-legged stool. That doesn't sound safe to me. And the idea is you need those three legs to support you. And I'm like, no, I need four. So I'm not sure if this analogy even holds water, but go ahead. And I know Social Security is one of the legs of the stool, and then a pension is probably another. But
well, we'll see what Hohaus had to say. He said, quote, the first in order of time is individual insurance. The second, a variety of employee benefit plans, of which group insurance is an outstanding American contribution. And the third, Social Security. Each class of insurance can perform its role better because of the other two classes. Properly integrated, they may be looked upon as a three-legged stool, affording solid and well-rounded protection. So the three are individual insurance, meaning your own savings, employee benefit plans, meaning an employer pension, and the third, Social Security.
Yeah, but he was an insurance salesman. So 2 out of the 3 are insurance products from an insurance company, which he worked for. So I'm just saying, you know, they've taken that analogy and used other things instead of the individual insurance aspect of it, right? A lot of financial advice.
I agree. But I like the analogy of the three-legged stool as a foundation, but I've got a new one for you, which might make you happy. It's called the tricycle retirement.
Oh, Dan.
Right. So we did Shawshank Roth. Came up with that idea. I don't know if that's taken.
Mark this date, people, on Friday, June 14th.
Retirement.
Tricycle retirement, Daniel Wendell.
Instead of a three-legged stool, I'm talking about a three-wheeled vehicle. Now, if you think of a stool, it's like, all right, I'm going to build this foundational thing to sit on. But we know that sitting in retirement isn't what people do. You got to keep moving. You got to keep that moving. So
I like
you got the one-wheeled bicycle known as a unicycle.
You don't want that. That's not just
right.
For our video viewers.
That doesn't really work.
Dan isn't
comfortable.
having a seizure. He's actually. I'm going to take that clip and put music to it, Dan, and it'll be all over TikTok before the end of the day.
Unicycle retirement is not very stable. You have to keep moving, and while you're moving, you're absolutely miserable because you're about to fall down. So then you get the two-wheeled bicycle, which you still have to keep moving, though. You can't rest. You got to, if you slow down, you'll get into some sand, you lose stability. But the tricycle, the adult tricycle, you know, you've seen those. You can stop and not have to worry. You could be at a crossroad and be like, all right, let me sit. And you don't have to put your feet down. You don't have to balance. So the tricycle's where we're after.
Okay.
Does
That
that
makes
sound
more
better
sense.
than the stool?
It sounds way better than the stool. A three-legged stool, first of all. When's the last time you saw a three-legged stool?
I just think Geppetto in a workshop,
Yeah, I
making
suppose.
puppets.
Yeah.
But tricycles I see, right? So here's the deal. The three legs are a your own savings, Social Security, and then your pension from the employer. And we know, Tony, that the pension has gone the way of the pension.
Yes, the pension has gone the way of the pension.
So here's the deal. There are people that still have pensions and they can do this. But here's my take. Many people, they have the assets to recreate the tricycle retirement, but they just don't have the willpower, desire, or knowledge to do so. They just don't. So let's take that first one, the employer pension. Employer pension can easily be replicated with a lifetime income annuity. You mentioned it. MetLife was the guy that did it, selling annuities. Half the audience has turned off the video already, but the other half is saying,
Right.
oh man, I hate the annuities, right?
Yeah.
It's this mindset because a pension is simply an annuity from your employer.
Right. That's
A lot
what
of them
Social
outsource.
Security is. That's what a pension is. It's an annuity.
Right. So the pension has gone away, and in its place came the 401k. And the idea is you build up your assets so that when you retire, you got this lump sum that you could do something with. In the past, your grandfather worked and he worked a certain number of years. And when he retired, he just got an income. He couldn't say, hey, instead of giving me the income, can you give me $200,000? I'd rather spend it the way I want, how and as quickly as I want. The companies were like, no, this is your pension. This is the formula. It's like Social Security. Here's how many years you work, your top 35 years, put it in the formula. Out comes the sausage, right? You don't get to debate it. You just get it, right? And it worked. It worked for the people that retired in the 1960s. They had their pension, they had their Social Security, and if they were studious or they actually put some money away, they had their own little retirement, the third leg, right?
Mhm.
And that's what they would do trips with. And let's take my dad for an example. He was a public school English teacher for 36 years. He's still alive. He's got basically Social Security and his pension. He didn't have a 401k. He didn't save much. He had 4 boys. My mom worked late in life. So any money that my dad saved went to trips when my mom was alive.
Sure.
But
Or
he's
those
still
4 boys, they bled him dry.
right. We bled him dry,
Oh, the
right?
4 boys. Oh, the
So
Wendell
now
boys.
my dad has enough income to live his life from his pension and his Social Security combined. He can't say, I want, just give me it all up front. It is what it is, but he's not stressed out. As opposed to today, it's like, all right, now you have $1 million in your 401k. Is that enough? I don't know. But if you had the pension, you wouldn't be having that discussion. You'd just be like, all right, here's what my income is. I got to live within it.
Because it's for life. Social Security and pension, you know what you have coming in every month for the rest of your life. That's why that's the sleep well at night plan. With a 401k or a lump sum, you have no idea.
Right. All you have to do, though, is take a portion of your lump sum, your 401k, your savings, and you could buy a pension. You can buy an annuity. But people don't do that.
Right.
They don't want to give up control.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think they're going to live long enough to get their money back. They don't trust the insurance companies. They don't like, it's really a control thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just ignorant to the fact that they could do this. And I think that's the problem.
Or they think there's a catch. They think that they're going to pay high fees or not have access to their money when they need it, and there have been annuities like that over the years, and that's why they got a bad name. That's why Susie Orman has a career. She made a career on annuities are terrible,
Right.
But she's talking about one type of annuity, and there are many, and she's talking about a variable annuity that you can lose principal and you do pay high fees. But other fixed annuities or fixed index or MIGAs, your principal's guaranteed. There are little to no fees. So yeah,
I'm talking about immediate income annuity. It's like,
yeah,
give me my income back. And people are like, well, you're just getting your own money back. Yeah. But you got a lifetime income stream. It's a pension. It's different. It's
Yeah.
different than, so what's the
There
alternative?
are some guarantees there,
There's
though.
guaranteed lifetime
Yeah.
income. You could do a joint for you and your spouse, just like a pension.
And principal protection, typically.
Now, the problem is people don't want to do that. And what's the alternative? You got Fisher Investments guy saying, I wouldn't sell an annuity if to my mom or whatever. And we've done shows on that.
Yep.
And that's fine. But so what's the alternative? All right, let's invest in the market and get dividend paying stocks. That's the way to do it. Let's buy bonds and get coupons. Let's buy real estate and get the income, rental income, dividends, coupons, rental income, right? All trying to do one thing, which is create an income stream. But the problem is those aren't guaranteed. And the only way to get a lifetime income is through an annuity. And that's what a pension is. So you could try and recreate it, but here's the problem with trying to recreate it. What if, well, how much do you need? Well, safe withdrawal rate, 4%. Is it? You can, and so then you build more and more, and you have like, oh no, I need 2 million to retire. Because in order to generate the income I want, I can't, and keep working and never enough. Whereas a pension, boom, you just get the income. So I think the ability to get that second leg or that second wheel is there. People just don't do it. Now let's go back to my dad, because all right, my dad has the pension. He's got the Social Security. So where's his third wheel on the tricycle? He doesn't have savings, right? He didn't have that. Or did he, Tony? My dad does have savings. Where are they invested? Where
His
would
house? Does he
his
have a
house.
home?
His house.
Yeah, that's an asset that people don't think about.
Again,
they have
don't think about
there's
it.
money. Yeah.
Right.
And
Why
there's
not?
ways to access that.
We've done a show on accessing your home equity.
Yeah, there's
You want
3
that.
ways to access the money in your house, right, Dan? You've said
Right.
it before. You can sell it. You can get a HELOC, a home equity line of
Borrow.
credit.
Mhm.
You can get a home loan, or you could do a reverse mortgage. There's ways to get the money out of your house, right?
That's it. And so you can create, again, a lifetime income stream from your home. You could just say you get a reverse mortgage. All right. Now, the people that turned off when we said annuity, still half people there. Now, 90%
If you're going to promote reverse mortgages, you got to have the stash. We've determined that you have to have a big, thick mustache. Yeah.
Selleck style.
Yeah.
A reverse mortgage is a way to create an income stream that you don't have to pay back. That's lifetime, that uses the equity in your home. And I think the problem here, like my dad, when he sold his house in New York and moved to Florida, he bought it for cash. Oh, I don't want a mortgage. That's fine. That's fine. But now if he needed money, he's got his pension and Social Security. He has, there's not much. He could tap into that home, but he's not going to, because it's in here. It's like, no. And for a lot of people, it's like, well, I want little Johnny to get the house and the legacy there. So, and reverse mortgages are the worst thing in the world, according to a lot of people, but they just don't understand. That's not the purpose of the home equity. What is the purpose of the home equity? Is it to pass on to your kids? Well, then that's a legacy plan and not part of your three-wheeled retirement.
Right.
If you want it to be part of your three-wheeled retirement and have personal savings, I don't have personal savings. You have $400,000 home equity. Well, yeah, but I have to live there. It doesn't mean you have to leave. You could just use the home equity, create an income stream, just like take your 401k, create an income stream. People don't want to do it.
But people do that, and I know financial advisors set people up. Okay, you're going to get this money from here, and as later in life when you need it, you're gonna start accessing that home equity to live off of in retirement. It's not like you'll lose. Oh, I'll lose my home. No, if your home is worth, say, $400,000. And how long can you live on the 200,000? And what can you do with that? And I mean, there are ways. You have to do the math, but I know that you've helped people do this, Dan.
Yeah, and I don't sell home, HECMs or reverse mortgages.
And you'd probably use that last in the things to do. That would be maybe one of the last things you look at.
Not necessarily. It depends what you have for assets.
Yeah,
for my dad, it would be the first place to go because he doesn't have any other options.
Yeah.
He's saved money his whole life, but it's thrown it into the home. I'm running into people that they're paying down their mortgage so they could be debt free, yet they're racking up credit card debt. What's going on here? It's
Yeah.
this mentality that the home is like sacred cow.
Yeah,
Well,
use the bank's money. Like Sarah and I have a 2.9% interest on our mortgage. Why would we use our own money to pay that off when we can leave our own money in something that's making between 5 and 10%,
or paying off
and
other high debt.
let's use the bank's money at 2.9% for the house,
Right.
right?
Your kids need a student loan. Are you going to get a loan at 8% or use your cash flow and
Yeah.
then not pay down the
Or use
mortgage?
a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, which is a lower interest rate, maybe.
Maybe. So
Yeah.
the thing is, it's not untouchable, and I think for most people it is. The idea of buying an annuity with their 401k, giving up control, people don't like. The idea of turning their income from the asset, their home, into income, people don't like. And you can have the simple tricycle retirement,
Mhm.
but for whatever reason, people don't want to do it. I'm not saying that's the thing everyone should do, but when people say, "Oh, it was so much easier for my grandparents because they had the pension," well, you can create a pension too. Well, how do I do that? Well, here's the math. Here's how much you have to put. Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, what do you want? Do you want a lifetime income stream or do you want the guessing? Your choice. I'm not telling people what to do, but I don't want to hear people say we can't go and do it the way our grandparents did it, because you can. You're choosing not to. And here's the other warning, though, Tony. When you're building your tricycle, don't get caught up, because what a lot of people do is like, I got the tricycle, I got the foundation. Now I want to put some more support because I don't know, I might run into a ditch or a pothole. I got to be able to make sure this thing doesn't collapse on me. And so they constantly building and worried about how strong this tricycle is, when they probably have a very serviceable tricycle to get them where they're trying to go, but they overbuild, they make it too complex, and they never get on. And so they miss all the prime years of their retirement because they're too worried about the tricycle collapsing down the road. And finally they get down the road and they're still building and they're like, wait, I'm already 75 years old. It's too late. Like, why didn't I get on the tricycle when I was 61?
Mm-hmm.
Because you were too worried about running out of money. You were too
Mm-hmm.
worried about the fear factor that this industry drives. Financial professionals, oh, it's got to be complex. We got to use derivatives. We got to use REITs. We got to use coupon bonds. And, they're using all this junk to overly complex things because they're charging a fee to do it, when the simple solution might be, well, buy a CD, buy an annuity, let's invest the rest in a index fund, and you're fine. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure, because we got a guarantee here. And let's spread it out and get multiple guarantees. Let's build a 10-legged stool, right? Or a 10-wheeled tricycle. Oh, a dodecacycle. I think people get overly worried about their retirement failing that they never actually retire.
Right.
They're always living in fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the old school 3-legged stool, Tony, I think it should come back, but it just requires more discipline than people are willing.
And it should be a tricycle.
Should be a tricycle. Let's push the tricycle. The 3-legged, the tricycle retirement is totally within reach for many people. If you do the math, they just don't do it. They just, I don't know. It's psychological. It's societal. People don't like to lose control. They don't have the discipline to do it. And yet they yearn for the old school retirement. They yearn for that. They complain about how it's impossible to reach, but it's not impossible. It's doable. You just got to look into it. So there we go.
Great show. And I think it's really important that people, in order to achieve that and build their own tricycle, they have to work with a financial professional like yourself, Dan.
You
So
have to do the math.
Yeah. How can our listeners, if our viewers or listeners want to talk to you about this, how do they get a hold of you?
Easiest way is to call our 800 number, 888-508-5935, or go to dolphinfinancialgroup.com and you can connect with us and just send a message. Say, hey, I want to see if I can build a tricycle. What would it cost me for a tricycle retirement? And I'll run the numbers and say, here's what it would cost you for your tricycle. And then you could decide, is that doable? Do I like it? I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that it's not as expensive as you might think. But again, you have to be willing to give up control. You have to be willing to actually get on the tricycle too. A lot of people don't, they talk about how they want to retire, but they really don't. And so there's that too, but it's totally doable. Give me a call. We'll be glad to help. Thanks for a great show, Tony. We'll catch everyone next week.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.